Humans create tools with the intention to help humans. We need to recognize that. But tools are double-edged swords.
It's no secret AI is reshaping the workplace, with breakthroughs like ChatGPT igniting a mix of trepidation and thrill. At the forefront, Stanford's Fei-Fei Li, known as the godmother of AI, delves into the tough questions. How do we implement AI? How do we work alongside it? And more importantly, she says, how do we make sure humanity remains at the heart of technological advancement? Here's how Fei-Fei Li envisions our coexistence with AI. What's your advice to someone who is not in Silicon Valley and wants to embrace or is thinking about whether they should embrace AI?
I think everybody should embrace AI, given where this technology is. Educating yourself, embracing AI is business responsible, because it's hard to imagine any business will not receive impact or influence from AI. I do encourage all businesses and business leaders to self-educate or to seek educational opportunities about learning about AI. It is important.
According to PwC's 2023 Emerging Technology Survey, 73% of U.S. companies have embedded AI in some way, and generative AI is at the forefront. In just 1 year since ChatGPT publicly launched, over half of the companies surveyed have implemented Gen AI into their operations. And you can see the focus on AI reflected in the job market. According to LinkedIn's Jobs on the Rise report, which uncovers the 25 fastest growing job titles, AI consultant and AI engineer rank in the top 10. But as professionals get in the door, we can't ignore the big question. What's the real impact AI will have on the larger workforce? So how should business think about making sure that they are still embracing humanity when AI is so shiny and offers so much, and you might want to just go and embrace all of it, when you're saying, no, think there's other intangibles and you have to think about human agency and dignity? If you were counseling people who are in a business setting who had the option to be able to apply all these great technological advances to what they're doing, how would you encourage them to think about humanity?
Well, to start with, they're not mutually exclusive concepts. First of all, we should recognize AI is a piece of tool. Humans create tools with the intention to help humans. But we have that agency and we have that ownership of that tool. We need to recognize that. But tools are double-edged swords. And how do we ensure that we're using this tool in the right way? At Stanford High, we have this 3 concentric circle way of thinking about AI's human relationship, the individual at the heart of it, community, as well as society. And as a business, I think this is a great human-centered framework to think about AI as a tool, as a product, as a service, is what its impact to individuals, for every individual. Like we talk about their dignity, their self-respect, their productivity. Then we think about what the impact is to, implication is to community, especially community that are traditionally overlooked, underserved. We have to have a keen awareness of that. And then the impact to the society, whether it's intended impact, like if I'm changing mobility and driving, that's an intended impact. But also unintended impact, for example, the disruption of jobs of truck drivers. I'm just giving examples. Sure. But if we put it in that framework, I think at least it's a good starting point for businesses to think about how to approach this.
But you've worked in business before. You look at one thing that you're mentioning can be measured by metrics. Mm-hmm. You know, how successful am I at deploying this? How many hours is it saving in terms of this? And the other one is more, I don't know, ethereal. Is there a way to make sure both of those are being as highly valued, or is it just up to leaders to say this is important?
I know why you asked this question, because there is a lingering thought about, in the race of profit and product, do these things really matter, and how do we make them matter? I see firsthand they do matter. We're rapidly educating ourselves as a society. No matter where you work, you're also a citizen of the world. You're seeing the impact of this technology. Now people are more sophisticated in asking questions like, do you have data integrity?
Right.
Is your algorithm biased? What is my privacy rights? So I think all this is either forcing, pulling, pushing, encouraging, whatever word you use, business to care. In the meantime, I return to public sector because I think there is a huge role we could play. Is a role of a partner to the private sector as well as a partner to the governments, especially in our country. We're a democratic country. So HAI has been working with Congress, with Senate, with the White House, with the agencies to really both educate them about what this technology is, but also to provide advice and policy research studies on the potential implication. Because the more we inform the policymakers and create that partnership, the more likely we will see thoughtful, sensible regulatory measures. And that is also part of the equation.
I'd love to end this with a question about your career. You went through a period where you could have either stayed in academia or you could have gone to Wall Street. You could have become a consultant. You could have gone into big tech. How did you make decisions about where to take your career? And you chose often, almost always, to go towards something that offered the worst paycheck possible. So how were you making those decisions about?
So I shouldn't be giving career advice.
I want to know, these are hard decisions to make. How do you do it yourself? And how do you encourage other people to make those decisions?
I think what happens for someone like me, I don't know why my brain works that way, is I do identify a North Star at different stages of my life. And sometimes they differ, obviously, right? But once I have that North Star, all these decisions, the size of the paycheck or the apartment I should rent, they become less important because how I make decision will be orienting towards the North Star that really matters to me.
I talk to a lot of people who have trouble even knowing what their North Star is. Is there a way for people to find their North Star, or are you just lucky enough to have the ability to find your North Stars over time?
I do think, especially for the younger people, that protecting and helping them to have the passion to seek curiosity and North Star is important because there is a certain stage of life that they're more free and they're more curious. And that stage, if we can help them to channel that energy, is important. And as an educator, when my students come in, I try to ask them, what do you really want to work on? What's important to you? Instead of the next paper deadline, So that's important. For grown-ups, I also think we can find North Star. We're more complicated. But in the meantime, our responsibility also is a great guiding light, right?
Yeah.
So I think we all can find our North Stars.
Here's what stood out to me. It takes a collective effort to implement new technologies like AI into our lives. It's on all of us, from government to business and everyone in between, to set the right rules to make sure AI is helping society, not just changing it. AI is inevitable, and it touches every job, every industry. It's crucial to think about how it'll impact your work and what you can do to keep up. We dive deeper into Fei-Fei's research on the This Is Working podcast. Find it wherever you listen to podcasts. Meanwhile, tell us, how has AI impacted your job? Let me know in the comments.